Welcome back to Navigating the Unknown and AskSternRep. In these webinars, we cover the topics that are coming up for photographers, people. So much of the decision-making process to hire photographers happens behind the doors of an ad agency. Today, we will peek inside and understand this better thanks to creative director Norman Brown and art producer Andrea Rosenfeld. APA, thank you for making this webinar continue to happen. Let me turn to Hugh, my co-host, LA photographer and APA LA board member, Hugh Kretschmer. Hi, Q. Hi, Hugh.
Hello. Thanks for having me again. I think it's going on a year almost. This is episode 15. We're almost on a year. Yep. It's been really great collaborating with you, and it's so helpful for our community. APA is about community. It's about advocacy. And we're there for people to have this place to come and learn about the industry. And this is one way we're doing it through this webinar. So I've been a board member for about 3 years. That's been really, really great. I get to help develop these programs and be a part of that. And I want to say thank you to our esteemed guests for showing up today. Really, really appreciate you donating your time to us. So thank you again. And so back to Andrea. Thanks.
So welcome you too. Thank you for being here today and helping us understand what goes into the decision-making process of choosing which photographers you work with. I mean, that's a biggie. That's like the base of everything we're doing. Andrea Rosenfeld is a senior art producer at David&Goliath and has worked on brands such as Kia, Honda, Toyota, Lexus, California Lottery, Elizabeth Arden, Wells Fargo Bank, Universal Studios, and more. She has a background as a photo editor, studio manager, and photo agent. Yep. And is driven by a strong passion for visual storytelling. A proud third-generation Angelino, which she knows how to get anywhere in LA in 15 minutes, and has been to every concert venue in the city, ticket stubs to prove it. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is nice.
Very kind of you to be here and share your brain with us. And your heart. Okay. Norman Brown is the design director at Zambezi Agency in Los Angeles. Norman teaches design part-time at Art Center and has been creative director at M&C Saatchi, associate creative director at Mullen and Deutsch, senior designer at Uber, senior art director at RPA, Team One, and Omelette agencies. With a background in graphic design and mixed media, his work brings a wide range of artistic craft into the field of brand communication. Some of his clients include Vizio, Amazon Music, Facebook, Activision, FX Networks, VW, Sprint, and Lexus, to name a few. Hello to both of you.
Hello, thank you. Glad to be here.
We're very lucky to have you both. I'm going to jump in because time is of an essence here. We got a lot to cover. Attendees, thank you for being here. You have a major part in this webinar, and we already have received a lot of questions, but keep your questions coming in, and we hope to have time for all of them. So ask away, and please put questions in the Q&A area, not the chat area. Right, Hugh?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Remember to join Hugh and I at the end of this discussion because we like to stay on and have our own short wrap chat. That's what we call it afterwards. So stay on for that. We're going to touch on a lot of topics today and shed some light on all of these issues photographers are faced with to get the job. We will cover the ad agency's process of choosing a photographer, what we need to know and what we need to be ready for, what helps us get the job and not get the job. That might be the most important piece. Marketing that works and doesn't work. And we will have a round of fast questions at the end. Attendees, I want you to begin. Oh, I have this extra homework and question for you. When you hear something and you think, I've tried that, I can't do it. What I always say is, if you tried to open the door and it's closed, try the window. So I want you today to ask yourself, how can I do that thing differently? Because something you're going to learn today is going to call out to you. And I don't want you to just say, oh, I've done that, I can't do it. That's my assignment for all of you. So the process of choosing a photographer, I want to understand your titles, the two of you. Can you give us a quick snippet to explain your role in the process of hiring photographers? Andrea, what does an art producer do exactly?
So our role is to be a key part in recommending the right artist for the project, finding the right match. And so we recommend that to the creatives and to the clients. And then once we have that settled, then we go into the bidding process, and then the art producer oversees the whole production, from pre-production, location scouting, all casting, everything through the production and into post-production. Basically, we're the voice of the agency to the photographer. So we will convey the messaging of what the creatives want. Although creatives do too. We have, but we facilitate that all the way through to the billing in the end. So I think that kind of encapsulates what we do.
And also, you are the contact for us usually. You look for photographers. We want to be in touch with you.
Yes, we're the conduit into the agency generally.
And Norman, yeah.
I just have one question to clarify. Is an art buyer and an art producer different? Or are
That's
they
one of my questions.
So an art producer is what an art used to be art buyer many years ago. And since we're producers, basically we're called art producers. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Norman, when we say creative director and you are also a design director, is that the same thing or different?
Yes and no. It's as a designer, my focus is to achieving solutions with measurable results. And what that means is, as a designer, design is not art, right? Design is visual communications, right? What is the best in the strategic way to visually communicate an idea? So if you take a creative director, they are the big idea person, right? A lot of them, let's say back in the day, most of them were writers. Art directors were, they created the artwork, the communication piece. They weren't the thinkers, right? And then of course
Oh no.
Anyways, and then that changed over time. And I always looked at designers or art directors essentially have always been designers in a sense. We just have given them that more glorified name of art director.
Well, can you be both? You're the design director.
I think you can be both. Today, I would say 95% in this time that we are in, art directors are essentially designers. They all can design. They just have that title of being designers. But I've worked at a few places, let's say, given Team One was, let me even back up. Years ago, a company called Attic, where I worked at, they actually hired designers. They didn't hire art directors. Everyone had a designer title, and we were still matched with a copywriter. And then I started seeing this trend happen over time where agencies were hiring designers more than art directors. But
I think I should interrupt, because I think photographers out there are wondering, well, does he hire photographers?
Yeah.
That's really probably what everyone wants to know.
No, yeah, we do.
So if we're looking to show our work to the right person, we should look for design director and creative director.
I think you look for both. Yes, for sure. You look for both, because we are, we at the end of the day, designers are also putting picture imagery to words.
Right. Do you, I was just going to jump to something, but I'm not, I shouldn't. I should stick with my plan here. How do you two work together? I know there's a large process that you have concepts starting a long time ago.
Okay.
When do we start hearing from you in that process?
Oh man, I think you might hear from me probably early on in the creating process. Like if I have an idea or in my head, but I don't know the right person to go for, to seek, I reach out to, an art producer. Hey, so I have this idea, I have this vision, I have this aesthetic I'm looking for. And I don't know who that is. Can you help me? Can you help me pull some people?
And then,
yeah, that's exactly the process. As an art producers, we the creatives will give us, like a creative director, design director will show us the concepts, and then we will pull together either a short list or a long list of recommendations. And ultimately it goes through the creatives to pick.
Yeah.
And the client.
Exactly. And it usually just starts from, it can start from just a simple mood board of what aesthetic I'm looking for. Is it, you know, dark and moody, warm and colorful, whatever the aesthetic is. And then I get a long list of photographers.
how often do you kind of know the photographer you have in mind at that point?
Well, what do you mean? At the point of when they are like the style that I'm going for, or actually the very specific photographer? For me, it usually starts with just more the aesthetic that I'm going for based on the context of the brand, right? What resonates with this brand? What is their voice? And I start there.
Andrea, when do you experience that the photographer you might want to work with, or the top 3, gets known?
Well, in my experience, once we see what the creatives are requesting, usually there's a couple that, in my mind, like, this is the perfect person, and hopefully it's a match with what the creatives are thinking. And if it is, great, but sometimes it'll be someone I'm not expecting, and we'll talk it through. And then at a certain point, when, you know, basically it depends on your schedule. If you have to start bidding right away, you got to make your decision quick. If you have time, you might go back and forth for a while.
What are some of the factors that help you select photographers? I mean, Norman mentioned a few: the aesthetic, the color, the mood. What are some other parts or pieces that you look for when you're thinking that photographer?
Is that for
Either one? Whoever has an answer.
I can jump in if you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's definitely, obviously, the look and the creative comes first. Like, is this the right match? And then it's other things like, depending on the project, like, are they flexible? Are they, you know, who's their producer? Because as from an art production standpoint, the production is very important. Their reputation, are they fast? Are they slow? Are they agreeable? Are they, you know, friendly?
Right. Responsible.
Efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously the look comes first, you know, what the work is.
Norman,
yeah, I would agree. It first, it starts with the work, and then I agree with Andrea. It starts with all those other things. Like if I've already known certain photographers that, okay, whatever the job is, we are trying to get X amount of shots in a certain amount of time. Is this person capable of doing that versus this person? Like, you know, we need to bang out 200 shots in 2 days. So this is the run and gun show, or is it the more polished approach? Who's capable of doing that?
How do you know who's capable of doing that?
For me right now, just the time I've been in this industry is just relationships I've worked with certain photographers. I know their you know, their approach and how they work. Like I kind of will go back to those people. Like, look, I know that this person can do this because I've done it before on another job. So let's put this person in the mix. Or sometimes I take a chance, and sometimes that chance just comes through conversations with the photographer. You know, when we start doing, you know, just preliminary talks and getting their feel of how they're going to, in their mind, going to go through the job.
Right.
So when do you have those talks though? Is that after the creative call, between the creative call and the treatment? Is that when you have those conversations?
It's basically after the creative is basically bought in. I've, Andrea's given me some photographers. I selected 3, photographers that I like. Before we present them to client, I might want to talk to the photographers first before I basically present them to the client, just to see like, okay, are they a right fit? Can they do what is needed for the job? Great. These are the 3. Let's move forward with them.
That's nice. Yeah.
We have a question from Jim. How much influence do art directors have in the decision-making process of selecting a photographer for a project? Sounds like a lot.
A lot.
A lot. Like,
Yeah.
like most, what percentage? That's a good question. What percentage art director decides versus art producer?
0 for the art. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say 0. I mean,
Sometimes I think you guys have more.
we definitely have influence and we have the conversation, but ultimately it's up to the art director, because we can present a case, which I often do,
Right.
but it's up to Norman.
I guess it depends each situation.
Well, right.
I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes, Hugh.
How many times has it been the client's decision? Not the art
Ooh,
directors, not the buyers, but the
good one.
client's decision, right?
Often.
Often, yes. I've had on certain clients, they've been very familiar with certain photographers that they've been using for, say, a whole season, and they want to continue with that photographer. And it's like, all right, it is what it is.
And I mean, ultimately, it is their decision. I mean, they rely
Yes.
on us as their partner, but ultimately, it is their decision. It's their money. It's their,
Exactly.
I've been in that situation a few times where we know we're front runner for this job, but client then, no, I want that person I've already worked with. We're all like, why do you have an ad agency?
It happens too, like cousin, or not very often.
We have another question from Liz. As a new photographer, how important is it to see branded work in our portfolio? Does that factor in, or are you looking for creativity? So do you need to see the clients they've worked for in the past?
I like to see both, and that's just who I am personally. The way I look at photography is the same way I look at say design portfolios. I like to see client-based work because obviously that shows me that you can work with clients, but I also like to see personal-based work because that actually tells me who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see who you are through client-based work because I know how that works. I already know at the end of the day, that's actually not the original idea you sold in. So let me see who you are through your own personal work. So I like them both.
That's interesting. Andrea, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with Norman. I think seeing a little bit of client work, shows that you can handle a production. But even if someone's new and they don't have branded work, I'm still open to them. You don't have to have branded work.
Is there something you look for? Like Andrea, if a new photographer comes to you, what gets you excited about them, even though they're new?
It doesn't matter if they're new or not new, as long as they have a voice and a point of view and a body of work that has a through line, then that sells me.
Mm.
And I know what you mean, but what does a through line mean to you?
If I can look at a picture and know that Hugh Kretschmer shot it, like there's a voice to it. There's a signature. I really respond to that.
I always say it's like a stamp. Like,
yeah,
oh, it's that photographer. That's the image.
Yeah,
that's who they are.
That is unique. That they can do.
And that's when, just side note, we can charge more in usage, I think, when really just that photographer can do it. That's a big selling point. Like Hugh, you're very specialized.
Mm-hmm.
So you could probably charge more, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think every photographer has their signature, I hope. I hope.
Well,
yes.
Charge,
whether it's a tiny job or not.
That's what they should be striving for.
Right.
Are you guys up for a question from our audience that just came in?
Yeah.
Okay. We know from demographics that the industry leans heavily white male. How often does diversity play a role in the decision making?
Wow.
Oh man, I think right now in this climate, it plays a very important role. Example, I just got off a TV shoot for like activism project, and we wanted to make it very important that we hired everyone in the crew was either Asian or Black.
Mm.
That was, for me, that was a mandatory must. From the only person that would say was not of Asian or Black descent was our DP, but our actor, Black, director, Black, producers, Black, EP, Black, editor, Asian, the crew, Latina or Latino. It was like, this is a must.
Mm.
Our photographer, Black. So yeah,
Awesome.
especially now, it's
Andrea,
very important.
Andrea, are
Yeah.
you noticing that too now? I'm
Yeah, I
assuming
think
more than
that
ever.
I think at our agency, and I think in general, and to our clients, it's very important to consider, inclusion and diversity. It's key. So
And
we,
at your agency, you have something going on I'm hearing about. Empathy division, empathy.
So we have a director of empathy, which is Tiffany Parsons. She's amazing. She holds workshops with us, and we kind of, what I think is really, we also have someone named Blake Winfrey, who's our director of social impact. And I think what the agency is recognizing is that advertising has an impact, a huge impact. And so I think I'm really impressed with David and Goliath that we're really trying to take into account the impact we have and think about that. So like Tiffany Parsons in our workshops, we look at commercials and things, pop culture, and how are we treating diversity and typecasting and things like that. We want to avoid typecasting in our casting. It's that simple, things like that.
Okay.
I hope every agency
Oh.
does that.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah, it's cool.
Norman, if I can ask you one of those questions since we're on this topic and you are a Black man, may I?
Yeah. What's your question? Go ahead.
Why, when I look through my own LinkedIn,
Okay.
do I mostly see white people?
I have that same challenge right now as being a instructor at Art Center. Every class I teach, there's no one on the other side of the screen that looks like me. I think it has to do with, a lot of it is, it's not exposure. We're not exposed to design or advertising. Sometimes I think a lot of Black people don't think that it's even an option for them, to do it. I'm lucky and fortunate to have grown up in advertising, so I have that exposure through my parents. But I don't think a lot of Black people who have the knowledge of what it even is. I'm starting to see more than when I first started in the industry, but I think it's just this representation. We don't teach it, and to Blacks. They don't know if it's an option. They don't see it.
Hugh, what about the APA and their group about this? Isn't there?
Well, we're diversifying. Yeah, we have diversified the board and making strides to do that, if that's what you're asking.
Isn't there a division or a part of the club, or isn't there something? I'm missing the word. A diversity. Okay, we'll get back to you on that. Patty will know. Let's ask
Diversity committee. Patty says diversity committee. Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, this is such a big topic. I don't even want to dive into this. Diversity committee, I'm seeing that. Any other words on that before we jump back to the creative process?
No, I just think it's changing. I think things are changing now. I think we're seeing more diversity, come through, which is nice. I like it.
Yeah.
There needs to be more. So.
Yes. I'm going to jump into this question. Norman, is there like a consistent hope or wish that you have when a photographer comes to a project? What are they going to bring to it creatively or with their vision? Like, do you want them to just add to your concept? What do you want? from
Oh
a
no,
photographer?
I look for them to, like, I'm hiring you for your aesthetics, for your vision. You know, it's like I came with an idea, but doesn't mean like it doesn't stop there. Like now I'm looking to the photographer to take it beyond just what I thought about. And because I'm collaborative. It's like, yeah, I might have like drawn the outline of the artwork, but I need you to like, you need to fill it in.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
You know, like I just got little pieces like connecting the dots, but now can you like fill the pieces in and connect the dots and make it look beautiful? And do you. Like I hired you to do you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a photographer. I hired, you know, I'm looking to you to do your thing.
I
So
love that. So a photographer is not just a technician, but you want them to bring them
I want
to
them
your
to bring
concept.
I want them to bring who they are. I want them to bring their passion. I want them to be open to collaboration and not, I guess what it is, like I have learned how to really separate my personal emotions from things and not get so deep in the weeds of, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be this way. It's like, no, it doesn't. There's other ways it can happen. So, you know, when I'm on set with the director or photographer, like, I don't want you to be quiet. I want you to challenge me.
And so personality plays a big role in your decision too. It's not just a portfolio, it's your.
Yeah, because I don't want to be able to just run you over, you know, but also I need you to also listen to at the same time as a conversation. But I don't want you just to like, you do this, do that. No, like have some ideas. I may not have an idea at this point right now. So I'm looking for you to throw some ideas out.
I love that. If we take away anything from this today, I think that,
Collaborative.
yeah, what they got to bring to the table.
Yeah.
I remember this stage in our business when automotive photographers weren't always getting the job. It was fashion photographers getting the auto jobs.
Mm.
Is there anything like that? Do you look for a photographer? Would you be open to looking for a photographer who shoots something different than what you're looking for?
Oh yeah, totally. I do that even when I'm hiring designers. Like I know we need a certain ask, like this is the ask, and I'll look through portfolios and say, you know, okay, this might not be in their certain wheelhouse. They have something a little slightly different, but what's different about it actually has potential to make what we're already doing better because it's different. You know, I feel like if you hire just like, all right, I'm shooting the car, I'm just gonna hire the car photographer. Usually they're just gonna, you know, they're gonna shoot what they're used to shooting, right? You kind of know what you're gonna get, you know, it's like that. If you bring a little extra flair to it, something that's completely outside of left field, because I've done it, and you're like, oh man, that shit was dope.
Andrea, you and I both work in the car world, and we know that's a little, I don't know, challenging.
Typically, it's a little challenging.
What about the non-car world? Do you find it, Andrea, like, can you hire clients that might not have the thing in their book?
You know, there's a balance. It's like we want to see it in the book, but we're, you know, I don't. That's a tough one. I mean, I think generally we kind of want to see it, but I'm not sure how to answer that. It's
Actually, my next question kind of can be for that from Jason. What situations would make a producer or art director want to bring emerging or unrepresented talent into a project?
well,
Like what?
emerging and unrepresented is not the same thing as not having shot cars or not having shot people for a people shoot, right?
But is there some element?
Representation.
Is there some element you could see in an image or the portfolio, and you're like, ah, we want that for this other type?
Well, it's like when some car companies were using like fashion photographers because they saw like the graphicness or the coolness or edginess. You know, they want that for their car because they see their car as a fashion piece. So you can translate it that way.
So more the mood or the style. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
There has to be
I agree.
some connection. You don't want like, you know, a still life
Like
person
a
shooting
food
celebrity.
photographer.
Food photographer shooting a sports celebrity or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You can't do that.
I don't think the photographer would want that anyway.
I think it's about the mood that the photographer brings that is matching the mood of the project, whatever the product is.
I agree. I go back to, I agree 100% with that. Like it can be a car, you can be actually selling a car, but also look at it if you're trying to sell a story as well with the car, and not just like, I'm just going to show a beautiful car. What is the story behind this car and this person? And sometimes I found in the past that you have fashion photographers have been able to bring that and knowing how to shoot people in connection to other things instead of just shooting the car. But sometimes they don't shoot cars very well, but that's okay, because you're trying to tell an actual story here, and it's actually not so focused on the car.
Are you ever interested in photographers pitching an idea to you? Is that something you guys are ever open to?
Just on the whim, just calling us up and pitching an idea, or
Yeah.
through like the agency? I mean,
No,
I had,
through you personally,
oh,
Instagram or through email.
oh yeah, I got that a lot, just with our own mutual personal photographer friends. Yeah. Yeah, I'm cool with it, because to me, I look at it as like that's yeah, because then you really get to be creative and fun, and you're not bound to a client or brand. Like that's, yeah, I'm always down for that.
Andrea, do you ever get pitches like that?
I mean, what we get more is like we'll say if someone might go out, like for our client Kia, they might go and do a test with a car and show it to us. It's more that like they'll test something, but
Right.
they're not really going to pitch to me an idea, because that would be more something they would do to Norman.
Right. Interesting.
And then if they do pitch an idea to us, it has to be something that matches the strategy of what the client's looking for too. So chances are, I think, a little slim that it would actually turn into a campaign.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
For bidding, let's just talk about bidding. When that begins, do you only bid 3 photographers, Andrea?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you
up
come to
three,
us
up to three.
up to 3.
Up to 3. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And sometimes I get a call for availability and we think we're bidding, but they're like, wait, we just want to know if you're available.
Yeah, availability is basically like if we're still in the process of picking the 3, we can't present anything without someone being available. So there might be 4, maybe 4 or 5. But if the first 3 that we want are available, we probably just going to stick with the 3, checking just the 3.
Can you give us the steps of the bidding? What are the steps?
The steps are I send out the bid package, which is usually very detailed, has the shot list, the timeline, the usage, post-production requirements, everything that the job entails, what we're looking for. And then we'll set up creative calls between the creatives and the photographer and the art producer and the agent. And then after we finish the creative calls, then the bids are submitted to us. And then sometimes we have a cost consultant that goes along with our bid journey. Sometimes we don't, depending on the clients. And then once we've got the bids in a place where we're comfortable from a production standpoint, oh, I forgot the treatment. We might submit a treatment, which we would send to Norman. He would look at it. Then we discuss, sometimes after the creative calls, who we really want, who we think we want to present to the client. And then the bids go to the client, and then they decide who's going to get the job.
Do you ever look at a bid and say, oh, wait, where's the location scout? Oh, where's the props?
Probably every bid. Yes, that's my job, is to make sure that our production is going to be seamless. So if they forget, a motorhome or food, or if they forget something small, I have to make sure it's covered. because we can't go back later and say,
Do
oh, whoops, client, we forgot to get, wardrobe.
Do you
I
have
have
any
a
red
question.
flags? Wait, one more. Do you have any red flags? You look at a bid and you think, oh, not good. I've lost faith.
I mean, yes, if they didn't listen on the creative call and it doesn't reflect what we discussed on the creative call, then that's a problem. If if they're not, if the bid is too low, I mean, meaning like not covering everything that we need,
Yeah.
that's a big problem. Generally, that doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Hugh, you had
How
a question?
often? Yeah, I do. How often has a treatment, or if ever, has swayed you from one photographer to another?
Is that for
Uh,
Norma?
Norman.
yeah, for me.
Anybody?
Everyone. I mean, how many times? This happened a couple of times, just depending on what their approach is. And I would say that's actually only happened to me more when it comes to directors. I've
Okay.
been way more. When it comes to photographers, I haven't really come across that a lot. Directors usually are just really depend, like, they're telling you a story and a treatment, going through the script, and I'm like, oh yeah, you really don't understand this spot right now. So yeah, and then that's where I start to like, let's lean more here.
I want to get more into treatments in a minute. Is that okay, Hugh?
Okay, sure.
Put a pin in that.
Okay.
Andrea, for bids, is budget, why can't you share the budget with us? That would be so much easier. Why is that?
Well, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. It sort of depends on the project and the clients. And I think also if we do share the budget, it might affect the production. It might inflate the budget, the production that you give us. It might deflate it where you don't give us what we need. It might compromise the production. But ultimately, we ballpark the projects generally before we go to the bid phase. So we kind of know what it should be. And also we want to see what you come up with. We don't want you to be bound by something that might confine you or might make you inflate something. We want to have a realistic number. Like, we need to have a realistic number.
Right.
And we're not going to, if I have a tiny budget, but it's a huge project, like, that's a problem. We're not going to be able to accomplish that. So we usually work that out ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you share any kind of fees range, like a day rate? Can you share any of that with us? Or are you comfortable with that? Like a normal range for fees?
Well, I wish that there was a normal rate, but it's so dependent on the project. I mean, I've paid someone, $500 to go take a picture of a sign, and I've paid someone $45,000 a day to do something else. So, I mean, it's just, don't quote me on those rates. I'm just saying, like, it ranges depending on
such a wide range
and the usage and the photographer.
Right. Do you see these days, how do you see it broken out for usage, day rate, creative fee? Is it per shot, per day? Is there like a norm that you're seeing right now?
Again, it depends on the project, but I'd say right now it's a little bit more of a day rate because we're doing much more asset generation type shoots where we're getting, assets for multiple teams, and it's not really per shot exactly. And so I think day rates are right now generally what is working. But that also depends on who the photographer is and what they're willing to do.
Right. I want to quickly jump to creative call and then treatment because time is of the essence here. Okay. Creative call, Norman, it gets weird. It's awkward. If you make a pause, does that mean you want the photographer to jump in? And if you don't make a pause, do you expect the photographer to jump in? Like, when do we talk?
Oh, there you go. When did you talk? So, well, the creative call, when we're on the creative call with the client?
No, with the photographer.
No. Meaning like, so, okay, so let's back up. So like if I'm presenting, so like if we awarded the job to a photographer, we're now presenting.
Before that,
At bidding.
we're bidding on a job.
Still bidding, yeah.
We're on a creative call with you. We don't tend to know when to speak.
I would speak for you guys, I would say, let me just run through what the
The
idea
shot list.
job is about, what we're trying to accomplish. Let me get through that. And then to me, then it's actually at that point, it's questions. You ask questions, ask any question that you have in your head. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good rule. Good to have something. Andrea, have you seen like a really good creative call and you're like, oh, that was what makes it really good?
I mean, I think just when you can tell that the photographer understands the project, and when they're listening, and maybe if they offer something we haven't thought of, like some kind of approach that we haven't thought of that actually makes sense. And if they're, yeah, did like really listen to the project needs and give us something that we're not expecting. But that doesn't have to happen. Really, it doesn't have to be all that exciting. You know, we're not looking for you to like do a song and dance. We want you to be who you are and be honest and authentic. So don't have to feel a lot of pressure at the creative call, you know?
True. I agree.
We're not hiring your personality. I mean, you're not your work is what I think you should feel the pressure about.
That is so easy for you to say, man. And it is like, I mean, that is my opportunity. I'm telling you, that's like, this is it. This is your show. If you blow it, you're done, right? You know, there's so much pressure on that creative call.
Yeah, I want to take that pressure off. Go ahead.
No. I have to say, like, I look for it's hard to see somebody's personality over well, now we're doing Zoom, so it's a little easier, but still through this way. But I would have to say, I mean, pretty much personality is key for me. You know, I mean, most of the photographers I've worked with, I'm actually personal friends with outside of, and we are friends because of working in the personalities. I've worked with some photographers where personalities clashed. They were like, yep, never working with that person again. Work is great, but argue too much. And why are we arguing?
Yeah.
I think that comes once you're at the shoot and once you have the experience with the photographer, then you find their personality, right? And
true.
I want to jump to treatments because I know we have 13 minutes. Woo! We got a lot to do. Okay, treatments. How important is the treatment to get the job?
It's important. Yeah. No, it's just important. I mean, it's not like the most important thing. I mean, there's a lot of other variables in there, you know, that Andrea already kind of mentioned, as far as, you know, your approach, money, you know, whatever the case may be. But I don't think it's all your treatment. I look at it as like really your approach and how you're coming at it. Like, I've already liked you for your work. Now I'm at a place like, now I'm leaving it to Andrea. So now you figure out the dollars. Are you going to come into budget and make this work?
What are the topics that should be covered in treatments? Like, are there kind of standard that you like to see?
No.
Or a format.
No, I don't. I'm like, whatever you do. I don't have a standard format treatment. No, I don't judge you by that. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm already looking at just your work. Like, I already like your work. Now I'm just, what is your approach? You know, at that point, like now I'm using my so-called art buying small brain and like, come in budget.
Right. And the approach. Interesting.
The approach.
What if it's not well designed? Do you need it to be well designed?
Nope.
Andrea?
Yeah, you.
Rosenfeld, what do you think?
Oh.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's really up to the creatives and someone like Norman what they think. But I like it when it's I don't like it if it doesn't look good, but it's not gonna. Actually, just the knowing that they put the time into it, I think means a lot. The time and the effort, and showing, just verbalizing what we've already talked about is nice, just to, for me, from a production standpoint, to make sure that we're all aligned, that we're all talking about the same thing, how they're approaching it, and showing some samples, and but it isn't going, we're already very interested in you if we're bidding, so you're not like really
True.
selling yourself at that point. You're already in,
Right.
you're already considered.
Yeah, and I just gonna add to that. I guess for me, where it's not so much about how the design, the presentation looks. It's more about, are you able to articulate? And when I leave the meeting, am I confused, or do I understand what your vision is? Because you can have a very beautifully designed presentation, but I'm lost. Just, it looks pretty, but I'm like, but what you're telling me made no sense.
It's,
You could have a not so great presentation, but like you hit every point, you articulated it very clearly, and I'm like, great, it's cool, let's go with that. I got it.
that's a really good point.
That is a really good point. Everybody listen to
On-
that.
'Cause I'm a designer. Like I see people, we're trying to like, put lipstick on a pig. No, it's a fucking pig.
Let it be a pig.
Like, let it be a pig. I'm not buying.
Pig, be a pig.
I didn't hire you for your design skills. I hired you
Right.
to do
That's
what
right.
you do.
Yeah.
Good.
Let's
It's good to
see.
hear, actually, because
Yeah.
I think like the pressure to like make it, bells and whistles and highly designed. I mean, I know there's photographers out there hiring designers to design their treatments.
Yeah.
That's
I think
But-
it needs to be
not
that.
necessary.
Again, this is just me. Every design director is different. I'm big on not trying to overskin, a presentation. I still have this battle even at Zambezi. It's like, man, understand the context and who we're talking to, the audience right now, before we go down this path of trying to design this whole presentation deck.
That's good. It's good to hear.
Okay, I'm going to jump off of treatments. Do you guys ever look for influencers? Does that matter to you? How many followers they have on Instagram?
I don't personally. No.
Had a few art directors, when we were looking for some illustration and painting and mural stuff, where they want to know how many followers the artist has.
Hmm.
But with photography, it hasn't mattered so much how many followers they have. But if we do need influencers, it usually goes through our business affairs department that will find them.
That's nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I should ask, what are the titles that we all should be looking for? We have creative director, art producer, design, marketing.
Well, what do you mean
Content.
looking for?
As on our side of it, when we're doing our research to find you. Any other people that we should be looking for? Like you just said, business affairs, Andrea?
Oh, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't, no, they're they do all the legal stuff,
Oh.
and talents. But for photography, I wouldn't reach out to business affairs. Just art
Okay.
producers and creatives, art directors, creative directors.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about marketing titles or strategy.
Yeah. Designers as well.
Designers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump to marketing. What works? Like, how can a photographer break in, get in with you guys? What does work? Email promos are really frustrating. They don't get opened a lot. Can you help us with this?
Oh, Andrew, you go first. I got to think about that.
I mean, I wish there was a secret ingredient. I wish there was like a direct path, and there isn't one. But like basically, your job as a photographer is trying to get to us is to reach as many people as you can, is to just, it's a numbers game, like contacts, try to meet people, go to networking events, portfolio reviews, things like APA events, just meet as many people as you can, because we have to know about you. So you have to share your work with us so that we know about you. If you have a rep, I feel like then you can focus on your work, and your rep can do a lot of that for you, because it really should be a full-time job, is like marketing yourself. And I don't think photographers are marketers, they're photographers. So if you're starting out, it takes a lot of, reaching out. And there's things like agency access and those lists that you can buy. And so,
what works for you, Andrea? Like, how does someone say hello to you? What works?
they say hello. No, I don't know. Just,
Should they email you?
yeah, I mean, truth be told, we get a lot of emails, a ton. But something has to catch our eye, and it has to either be at some place where we meet you out in the world or through email, because there's really no other way.
What about any social media? Any social media work?
Yeah, we look
Instagram?
at, you mean like, do we look at Instagram and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys rely on
I do a
source
lot,
books? You guys rely on source books or other sites? Like, Wonderful Machine or whatever, or I don't know if that's even right,
I
but
mean,
source books?
we look at
Yeah.
everything, all of it.
I think since we have 5 minutes, I'm going to jump to our quick questions. These are our lightning round.
Oh boy.
How many
We have
points?
5 points each. Anna asks, what is the number one piece of practical advice for a photographer just getting into the world of commercial photography?
Oh, Andrew, you take that. I couldn't answer that.
Do what you love, follow your bliss, do one thing really good, and quality over quantity.
Yeah.
You're only as good. Yeah. Only show.
That-
You don't have to show everything. Only show what's good.
That is the wisest bit of knowledge. Absolutely, for a beginning photographer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's
Should photographers be asking you right now? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
No. I just was green. I think
Should
that's
photographers be asking?
Go.
Me too.
We're all nervous about this.
Should photographers be asking you for your personal email? Oh, I'm unstable. Should photographers be asking you for your personal addresses?
Home addresses?
Yeah.
Your personal email, or what do you
No,
mean?
personal mailing address for for the promos.
No.
No.
Not if I don't know you.
Yeah.
Sorry. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know you and you're my friend, yes.
Do you think on a website, should the overview be the homepage? Should there be an overview of a lot of images?
I mean, it's subjective. I personally just want to get to your work. Just show me all your work, whether that's an overview. I just want to get right to your work.
Yeah.
I personally am. I get distracted if you get to a place and it's all fancy, and I'm like, oh, I got to go through a whole 5-10 seconds of just animation. I just want to get to your work.
Yeah.
Is there something you'd advise a photographer not to do on set?
Oh boy. Just be nice and
Yeah.
Be nice and I don't know. Don't be combative if the client is on set.
yeah. just be cool. I don't know.
Just kind of do it. Like even if you don't agree with what the client is saying, just do it.
Uh-oh, we lost Andy.
But they shouldn't talk budget or money. They shouldn't talk budget in front of creatives.
No.
Can you hear that okay?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Okay. What they shouldn't do, they shouldn't talk budget in front of creatives.
Oh, and they shouldn't ask, right, and they shouldn't ask creatives to add more. Yes, they shouldn't
add more shots. If there's more shots added, normally it's like this. They shouldn't go to the creative for that. They should go to you for that, Andrea.
Yes. Yeah.
We get a question, where are you hanging out? Would you consider doing a meet and greet Zoom meetings with a photographer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you respond to photographers on LinkedIn?
No.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah. Yep.
What should a photographer not do in an email to introduce themselves to you? Like spelling your name wrong. That's one.
They shouldn't refer to, like, I sent you an email last week. Did you get it? And like, did you get my promo? Don't do that.
Hmm.
I would
What if
agree. Yeah.
because normally it's normal for you guys not to respond to email promos. Should we expect that?
Absolutely.
I get
yeah.
like 20 a day. Yeah.
And do they need to tell you that they're interested in working with you, or find, like, love to work with you, or keep me in mind? Do they really need to say that?
No.
No.
I mean, I feel like you're reaching out to me for that reason. I already kind of assume it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It wouldn't hurt, but yeah.
Should a photographer be active on Insta stories? And what is the difference for the Instagram feed and the stories?
I don't think they need to be active on Insta stories. To me, it's their feed. Like it's your photography and your feed, and then from there, if I like your aesthetics enough, I just go to your website, and and just sometimes I even befriend photographers just on my own, just because I like their aesthetic and I'm a creative and want to keeping you in mind. I do it with designers, so yeah, no.
Andrea, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they have to be active on their feed.
Wow. See, I say the opposite.
Well, what you're saying, stories or post?
Sorry, I meant on their stories. They don't have to be active.
Yeah.
Stories. I'm like, stories.
Well, it doesn't hurt. I mean, if it's interesting and if it's something I want to see.
Yeah.
But if I'm generally friends with the people, I generally know them. So I like seeing the stories.
I see the feed as their second portfolio. Like you're going to go look at that when you're interested in them. So that leads to my next question is where do you go look? If you're interested in someone you don't know, where do you go look and make sure and check?
What do you mean? Like you're looking for someone, or you are just
you have someone in mind, but you don't know them. So which social platform are you going to go look at?
Oh, I mean Instagram. Then if I don't know their site or whatever, whether I found their site, I can just go to their website, or if I find them on Instagram. Being that how Instagram, like just the certain things that I follow, Instagram just aggregates that automatically for what you're interested in. So I automatically just get new photographers just populated in my feed that I've never heard of, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Click it on, like it, go to their website. I kind of start there for the most part.
Andrea, do you go anywhere else, like Facebook or anything?
I don't think I go on Facebook. To me, it's more about the production. So I might, like, if I don't feel comfortable knowing the photographer, I might ask them to work with a producer I'm familiar with.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
How often should a photographer email a mass email promo to you?
Whenever they have something good to share.
I like that. I would say every month and a half to 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, that works.
Do you see any networking options for photographers these days during this weird COVID time?
Yeah, I know that there's like LA Photo Works and Ad Edge are doing portfolio reviews, and I've been doing them. They're great. I like those.
APA does them too.
And APA, yes, sorry.
I think we met in person there. Okay, anyway, back to you guys.
I mean, doing Zoom ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you use stock images a lot right now?
Yeah. When warranted.
Okay, last question, and it's 1:03, Norman, you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I got to jump off soon. Go ahead.
Okay, last question. Knowing what you both know from the inside, if a photographer wants to work with a specific client, what advice would you give them? Like, I want to work with Nike. What do I do?
So I would say from a creatively, I would say look at their aesthetic, and, you know, just understanding their aesthetic, you know, maybe not mimic it, but just having something that lends itself to know into the lens of what they do, just creatively. You know, other than that, I wouldn't know.
Mm. Andrea, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like really study the brand and what their look and feel is, and see if it's a match. And hopefully it is a match for what you're doing. And you know, possibly do some tests that have that product in mind and share it with the art producer.
So find the art producer.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. I also say go on LinkedIn and you'll see a bunch of photographers also following that contact. And then you know that's the contact.
Tricky.
Hugh, do you have any last question for Norman? Because he's got to run.
No, I don't, but it's such a pleasure to talk to you. And,
Oh,
you know,
you're welcome.
yeah, really, I think you just brought it down to a very palpable level, down to earth. I really appreciate it. So thanks.
You're very welcome. This was fun.
Yeah, I feel like we got a little inside your head, both of you. And that to me was the whole purpose of this.
That's huge.
Where are you? Who are you two? What are you looking for? How do you operate? And I feel like we got that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I have one last final personal question, if you have time to answer it. Okay. Is there something about this COVID home time that you'll want to keep in your life when we go back to some other normal?
I personally I struggle because I'm a people person. I like to be around people, but I do like having the flexibility of kind of coming and going, right? I do struggle with being like bound to this monitor, and my days are longer now. And instead of being in the office, usually things that are just like really quick are now like, all right, we got to hop on a Zoom call. That takes 30 minutes. But I also, at the end of the day, I'd like that I'm less stressed just being at the office, and I'm at my home. You know, I get to spend time with my son, even though he's locked up in his room. But it's, you know, I can just run in there and grab him real quick if I want to. So nice. I feel like I get a little piece of my time back while I'm at home.
Yeah.
But I do struggle because I am at home and I like to separate work from home. But right now, my home is my office, and that drives me a little crazy.
Yeah. Andrea, Hugh, what do you think? What are you going to keep from this time?
I mean, it definitely has been a struggle, but I have really enjoyed slowing down a bit, and taking walks have been a lifesaver. And I kind of like this idea of understanding now that humans are very adaptable. And so whenever I'm like, I want to bring that into when things get better, whatever challenges come, like we're okay, we're going to adapt, because we look at what we've done. We thought a year we'd be doing this, you know, and we're doing it. So I think I like working from home, and so walks, slowing down, being appreciative too, not taking things for granted.
Yeah.
Because I miss hanging out with people a lot. So
yeah, you're all used to being in offices. You two are. I think Hugh and I are more used to being on our own.
True.
Hugh, what about you?
That I get to I want to wear my pajama bottoms wherever I go. Wherever I go.
Comfortable clothes.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Me too. I on it too.
Not you, Andrea.
Well, like this APA webinar we're doing, I still want to do stuff like this. This came from, what else do we do? Oh my God, where are we? How do we handle this? Let's get together as a community. I want to do more stuff like this. It's important, and not be so in the rat race busyness that this stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Well, thank you. We are out of time. Thank you, Andrea and Norman and Hugh, for doing this with me.
And welcome.
I look forward to seeing you all again next month. We'll continue to learn how times are changing and what we need to do about it. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram and join APA LA's mailing list so you won't miss out on upcoming episodes and other events. And that's it. Stay with us for a wrap chat with me and Hugh. We're going to talk about these two and everything we learned.
Oh boy.
Your ears are going to be burning, boys and girls.
Right.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
Thanks, you
everyone.
guys.
Nice. You're welcome.
My
All
pleasure.
right.
See you later.
Bye, you two.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Be
Welcome.
well.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Hugh, that was fun.
I love it. There was so much. They were very good with their answers and very precise. And I think there was a lot of information that was revealed today. So it felt really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
You know what it did? I'm so business minded. Like, we got to do this. The topics in the treatment have to be this and this. On the call, we have to bring up this. You have to have this kind of personality.
Right.
Man, they just brought it back to, well, we're human. Be yourself.
Yep.
And what like Norman is looking for. He's looking for the real people of why he likes your work. He wants to know who you are, what the passion you are. But you don't have, there's such a pressure. I feel like the pressure got taken off today.
Completely. Yeah. Really, truly, especially with the treatments and the creative call, I think, because those are the highest pressure points in that process, especially the creative call. And the idea of being okay with, the treatment not being so overly designed, because there's just been this racking up of, it's got to be this type of presentation now, is great to hear. Because now it's just, I think for all those who don't have much experience with treatments, they can just, learn by just doing and seeing what, bring their personality out more so than how it's all supposed to look.
And if it's not designed to the T, it's okay. They know you're not a designer, you're a photographer. That's hard.
Just be passionate about your presentation, and what you want to bring to that job. So, yeah.
Did we have a bunch of questions we didn't get to?
Let me see. There's one from Christopher Kern. COVID prompted these great talks. Hope APA keeps doing this as the world opens back up. It's brought new energy to the organization and community. Thank you, Christopher. That was awesome.
We agree.
Yeah. I wanted to push one thing out there while we still have some participants, and that is APA's Off the Clock competition coming up. The deadline for entry is March 31st. And what is so great about this particular one is that we have Rebecca Morse, who is the curator from LACMA, who is going to be judging this year's competition. And a new feature is three entries will be chosen. And then those winners will have a 20 minutes one-on-one with Rebecca after the fact.
And she's the head of the museum?
She is the photo curator at LACMA.
Wow.
So she's a big wig. And so I really hope that people take that seriously and enter. You can enter by going on the apa-la.org website. And if you become a member, it's half the price. Yeah. So
I'm a big fan of the APA. It's like one of those organizations that I know is in the right place. It's trying to do everything and be a solution for all that we deal with as photographers, and creates that community that I was talking about.
Yeah.
To me, this whole year has been about that. We want community. We want to not be in our bubble by ourselves, not talking to each other. We don't want that. We want to.
No, that's very, very true. Because as artists, I mean, personally, I tend to isolate because we're just so focused on our projects and whatnot, and we don't get an opportunity to reach out and be with other people. And this is the next best thing. So, and it's actually more convenient now because everything's on Zoom now. So going to these events is just a click of a button rather than getting in your car and going to them. I do miss the personal touch and interactions, but this is what we can offer right now. So, and a couple of other thank yous to Sammy's for sponsoring us, and Patty Silverstein, who is the woman behind the curtain. Thank you so much, Patty. We love you so much. Yeah.
We appreciate you. I know I mean, I like Hugh a lot, but I'm doing this because of you, Patty.
I'm here. You can finally hear me.
Yay!
Yay!
Be here, Patty. Patty, bring yourself in.
Come on.
Come on.
There you are. Yay!
That's Patty.
Hi, welcome. Thank you all for joining and being here. And thank you, Hugh and Andrea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like Patty? Did you like the webinar, the episode?
This was good. They were good. There was a lot of great information. It was a lot to get to. And
Yeah.
but they were funny. I was cracking up here. Norman just, a couple of F-bombs and, but yes, I think just really good, insightful information.
I think they were just so honest.
Mm-hmm.
I felt such an honesty from both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but completely approachable. It just felt like these are the people you want to, they're gonna pay attention. They're gonna respond.
And they're so authentic. I gotta say, I like advertising. The industry has authentic people, which I never would have thought would be true. But it's a great industry. Like, these are real people. Like, we're just having lunch with them. That was just like, we're just around a table together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Right.
David Robbins says, great episode, you peeps. Thanks, David. We'll see you at the board meeting. But I do got to scoot. Okay.
All right. Let's
right.
go then.
Love you all.
Thank you, everybody. See you
Thanks,
next
everyone.
month.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.